In a distant part of the galaxy, humanity was seen as nothing more than a joke. The Zorvath Empire, a powerful alien civilization that ruled over thousands of star systems, looked down on Earth with disdain. To them, humans were primitive creatures who didn't even realize how small and weak they were. For centuries, stories of human bravery and exploration had been turned into jokes and funny shows on galactic entertainment networks. Back on Earth, however, people had no idea what others thought of them. A young scientist named Emily Parker spent her days working at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station. She was determined to find proof of life beyond Earth. Her coworker, Daniel Carter, often teased her about chasing space ghosts. But Emily never gave up. She believed that there was something out there waiting to be discovered. One evening, while studying data from a probe near Proxima Centauri, Emily noticed something strange. There was a large group of ships moving toward Earth's solar system. At first, she thought it might be a mistake or some kind of glitch. But as she analyzed the readings further, she realized it was real. A massive fleet was heading straight for Earth. Emily immediately reported her findings to her superiors. News of the approaching fleet spread quickly through NASA and soon reached world leaders. Governments around the globe scrambled to prepare for the worst. No one knew why these ships were coming, but everyone agreed that it couldn't be good. When the Zorvath fleet entered Earth's solar system, they wasted no time in making their intentions clear. They sent a message that was broadcast across every nation. Surrender your resources or face destruction. Their tone was arrogant, filled with confidence that humans would do exactly as they said. After all, the Zorvath had conquered countless civilizations before. Why should Earth be any different? But the Zorvath underestimated humanity. Instead of giving in to fear, world leaders came together in secret. For the first time in history, nations put aside their differences and united under one banner: the United Earth Defense Command, UEDC. Leading this new force was General Rachel Hayes, a calm and experienced military strategist. She knew that Earth's survival depended on teamwork and quick thinking. General Hayes called upon Captain Lucas Bennett, a daring pilot known for his bold decisions, to lead the vanguard fleet. Though Earth's technology was far behind that of the Zorvath, humanity had two things going for them: determination and creativity. Engineers worked day and night to upgrade old ships and design new weapons. Scientists like Emily Parker used every tool at their disposal to learn more about the enemy. As the Zorvath tightened their grip on Earth's solar system, tensions grew. People everywhere watched the skies, wondering if this would be the end of their world. Yet amidst the fear, there was also hope. Stories of courage began to spread. Stories of ordinary men and women stepping up to defend their home. The Zorvath may have laughed at human legends before, but now those legends were being rewritten. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting to prove that they deserved a place among the stars. And as the first battles drew near, one thing became clear: Earth wouldn't go down without a fight. When the Zorvath fleet entered Earth's solar system, they expected an easy victory. After all, their empire had conquered countless civilizations without much resistance. They assumed humans would be no different: weak, scared, and quick to surrender. But they were wrong. Instead of bowing to fear, humanity surprised them. World leaders met in secret and agreed to unite under one banner: the United Earth Defense Command, UEDC. For the first time in history, nations set aside their differences to face a common enemy. General Rachel Hayes, a calm and experienced military leader, was chosen to lead Earth's defense forces. She knew that Earth's technology was far behind the Zorvath's advanced weapons, but she also knew that humans had something the aliens didn't: creativity and determination. General Hayes called upon Captain Lucas Bennett, a fearless pilot with a reputation for bold moves, to command the vanguard fleet. The fleet wasn't large or powerful compared to the Zorvath armada, but it was made up of brave men and women ready to fight for their home. Engineers worked around the clock to upgrade old ships and design new weapons. Scientists like Emily Parker used every resource available to study the enemy and find ways to exploit their weaknesses. The Zorvath grew impatient. When Earth didn't immediately surrender, they sent a second message: your silence will be your doom. Their arrogance only fueled humanity's resolve. People everywhere began preparing for war. Factories shifted from making cars and appliances to producing weapons and supplies. Volunteers signed up by the thousands to join the military. Even those who couldn't fight found ways to help, whether by growing food, building shelters, or caring for the wounded. The first major battle took place near Earth's moon. The Zorvath launched an attack to disable Earth's communication satellites, hoping to cut off global coordination. The UEDC responded quickly, sending the Vanguard fleet to intercept them. Though outnumbered, Captain Bennett and his crew used clever tactics to outmaneuver the enemy. They lured Zorvath ships into asteroid fields, where their bulky vessels struggled to navigate. Smaller, faster human fighters darted between the rocks, striking at weak points in the alien armor. Emily Parker played a key role in the battle. From her station on Earth, she analyzed data from the fight and relayed critical information to the fleet. Her insights allowed the Vanguard fleet to target specific areas of the Zorvath ships, causing more damage than anyone had thought possible. Meanwhile, Daniel Carter, Emily's coworker, volunteered for a dangerous mission to plant explosives on a Zorvath dreadnought. Though he managed to destroy the ship, he lost his life in the process. Despite heavy losses, the battle ended in victory for humanity. It was a small win, but it proved that Earth wasn't as helpless as the Zorvath believed. News of the triumph spread across the planet, sparking hope and pride in millions of people. For the first time, the Zorvath began to question their assumptions about humans. These creatures weren't just primitive, they were fighters. As the dust settled, General Hayes addressed her troops. "This is only the beginning," she said. "We've shown them we won't back down. Now we need to keep pushing forward." Her words inspired everyone who heard them. Humanity had taken its first step toward survival, but the war was far from over. The galaxy might have laughed at human legends before, but now those legends were being rewritten. With each passing day, humanity grew stronger and more determined. The Zorvath had awakened a force they hadn't anticipated, a species willing to risk everything to protect its home. And as the next battles approached, one thing was certain: Earth wouldn't give up without a fight. The victory near Earth's moon gave humanity a glimmer of hope, but it also made the Zorvath angrier. They had underestimated humans once, and they weren't about to let it happen again. The alien fleet regrouped and set its sights on Jupiter, a planet with vital communication satellites that Earth relied on to coordinate its defenses. If the Zorvath could disable those satellites, they would cut off Earth's ability to fight as one united force. General Rachel Hayes knew what was at stake. She ordered the Vanguard fleet to protect Jupiter at all costs. Captain Lucas Bennett, leading the fleet aboard his flagship, the Aegis Asterisk, prepared for what would be humanity's toughest battle yet. The Zorvath outnumbered them 10-1, and their ships were far more advanced. But Bennett had something the aliens didn't: creativity and bravery. Emily Parker, back at NASA's monitoring station, worked tirelessly to support the fleet. She studied patterns in the Zorvath ships' movements and discovered a weakness in their armor plating. The aliens' vessels were heavily shielded on the front, but vulnerable on the sides. Emily quickly shared this information with Captain Bennett, who came up with a daring plan. The battle began as the Zorvath fleet approached Jupiter. Their massive ships fired powerful energy beams, easily destroying several human fighters. The Vanguard fleet fought back fiercely, but it seemed like they were losing. Just when things looked hopeless, Bennett gave the order to execute Emily's plan. Using cloaking technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien probes, small groups of human ships slipped past the Zorvath's front lines and attacked their vulnerable sides. Daniel Carter, Emily's coworker, volunteered for a dangerous mission. He led a squad of pilots to plant explosives on a Zorvath dreadnought, one of their largest and deadliest ships. The mission was risky, and everyone knew it. As Daniel's team approached the dreadnought, they faced heavy fire. One by one, his teammates were shot down, but Daniel refused to turn back. He managed to plant the explosives and destroy the ship, but his own fighter was hit moments later. His final message to Earth was simple: "Tell Emily I'm sorry." The loss of Daniel and so many others weighed heavily on the crew, but their sacrifice wasn't in vain. The explosion crippled part of the Zorvath fleet, giving the Vanguard fleet the opening they needed. Captain Bennett led a counterattack, pushing the aliens back and forcing them to retreat. When the battle ended, the humans had won, but at a great cost. Dozens of ships were lost, and hundreds of lives were gone forever. Back on Earth, news of the victory spread quickly. People celebrated the bravery of the Vanguard fleet, but they also mourned the fallen heroes. Emily Parker struggled to process Daniel's death. Though they had often teased each other, she realized how much his friendship had meant to her. Determined to honor his memory, she threw herself into her work, vowing to find new ways to help humanity fight back. The Battle of Jupiter proved that humans were capable of standing up to the Zorvath, even against overwhelming odds. It also showed the aliens that Earth wasn't as weak as they had thought. For the first time, cracks appeared in the Zorvath's confidence. They had laughed at human legends before, but now they were starting to see that those legends might have some truth to them. As the galaxy watched, humanity took another step toward proving itself. The war was far from over, but the people of Earth had shown they were willing to fight and die for their home. And with every victory, the galaxy's laughter grew quieter. After the Battle of Jupiter, Emily Parker returned to her work with renewed determination. She spent long hours analyzing intercepted Zorvath communications, searching for anything that might give humanity an edge. One night, while decrypting a series of alien signals, she stumbled upon something extraordinary. Hidden within the patterns of their language were references to an ancient artifact buried deep beneath Antarctica. According to the messages, this artifact held incredible power that could change the course of the war. Emily immediately shared her discovery with General Rachel Hayes. The general knew they couldn't ignore such a lead, even if retrieving the artifact would be dangerous. She assembled a small team for the mission, led by Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, a resourceful and fearless Marine known for her ability to survive impossible situations. Joining her was Dr. Alex Monroe, an archaeologist who specialized in deciphering alien languages. Together, they set out for Antarctica, braving freezing temperatures and treacherous terrain. The journey was far from easy. The team faced howling winds, icy storms, and the constant threat of avalanches. At one point, they encountered strange, wolf-like creatures that seemed drawn to the artifact's energy. These beasts attacked without warning, forcing the team to defend themselves with limited weapons. Despite the danger, Lieutenant Mitchell kept everyone focused on their goal. "We didn't come this far to turn back now," she reminded them. After days of relentless effort, the team finally reached the location described in the Zorvath transmissions. Buried under layers of ice was a crystalline sphere, glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. Dr. Monroe carefully examined it, noting intricate carvings etched into its surface. He believed the sphere was created by an ancient civilization that had vanished long ago. Whatever its purpose, it was clear the Zorvath wanted it desperately, and that meant humanity had to keep it out of their hands. Back at NASA, Emily and her team worked around the clock to unlock the artifact's secrets. They discovered that the sphere contained blueprints for a weapon unlike anything Earth had ever seen. This weapon could dismantle matter at a molecular level, capable of destroying entire fleets in seconds. It was humanity's best chance to turn the tide of the war, but building it wouldn't be easy. The technology was far beyond anything humans had developed, and time was running out. Meanwhile, the Zorvath learned of the artifact's recovery and launched a desperate assault on Earth's southern hemisphere. Their forces descended upon Antarctica, determined to reclaim the sphere. Lieutenant Mitchell and her team fought valiantly to hold them off, using makeshift traps and explosives to slow the aliens down. In the end, They managed to escape with the artifact, narrowly avoiding capture. The victory came at a cost. Several members of the team were injured, and the harsh conditions left lasting scars. But they had succeeded in securing the sphere, bringing it back to Earth for further study. As Emily continued to decode its secrets, she couldn't help but feel a mix of hope and fear. The artifact represented humanity's greatest opportunity, but also its greatest risk. Word of the discovery spread, inspiring people across the globe. Humanity's fight against the Zorvath was no longer just about survival. It was about proving that Earth deserved a place among the stars. The galaxy might have laughed at human legends before, but now those legends were being rewritten, one brave act at a time. Using the knowledge from the ancient artifact, Earth's scientists worked tirelessly to build a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They called it Oblivion, a device capable of dismantling matter at a molecular level. It was mounted on the Aegis Asterisk, Captain Lucas Bennett's flagship, and represented humanity's last hope against the Zorvath. The weapon wasn't perfect. It required immense energy to operate and could only be used once. But it was powerful enough to destroy an entire fleet if aimed correctly. General Rachel Hayes knew that deploying Oblivion would be risky. The Zorvath had already begun their final push toward Earth, using the moon as a staging ground for invasion. Lunar colonies fell one by one, forcing survivors to retreat underground. If the aliens succeeded in taking the moon completely, they would have a clear path to attack Earth itself. Hayes ordered all available ships to assemble for a desperate counterattack, knowing this might be humanity's only chance to turn the tide. Captain Bennett led the Vanguard fleet into battle, flying directly toward the Zorvath forces surrounding the moon. The journey was perilous. Enemy ships swarmed around them, firing relentless barrages of energy beams. Entire squadrons were wiped out shielding the Aegis Asterisk, ensuring it reached its target safely. Despite the heavy losses, Bennett remained focused. He knew the fate of humanity rested on his shoulders. Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, still recovering from her mission in Antarctica, volunteered for a dangerous task. She devised a plan to sabotage the Zorvath command ship orbiting the moon. Disguised as prisoners aboard a stolen transport vessel, she and a small team infiltrated the massive alien warship. Their goal was simple but deadly: plant explosives in the ship's reactor core and escape before it exploded. The infiltration was chaotic. Mitchell and her team fought their way through corridors filled with Zorvath soldiers, relying on stealth and quick thinking to stay alive. At one point, they were cornered, and two members of the team sacrificed themselves to buy the others time. Though grief-stricken, Mitchell pressed on, determined to complete the mission. When they reached the reactor core, Mitchell set the charges and signaled for extraction. Her team barely made it back to their stolen fighters before the explosives detonated, tearing the command ship apart in a blinding flash of light. The explosion crippled the Zorvath offensive, throwing their fleet into disarray. From her fighter, Mitchell sent a final transmission to Earth: "Tell my daughter I love her." Moments later, her craft was destroyed by enemy fire. The loss of Mitchell and so many others weighed heavily on the crew of the Aegis Asterisk. But her sacrifice gave them the opening they needed. With the Zorvath fleet in chaos, Captain Bennett activated Oblivion. A wave of energy surged outward, disintegrating everything in its path. Dozens of alien ships vanished instantly, leaving the survivors scrambling to retreat. The battle was won, but the cost had been enormous. Thousands of lives were lost, and the moon's surface was scarred beyond recognition. Yet humanity had proven something vital. They were not helpless. The Zorvath, once arrogant and dismissive, now saw humans as a formidable force. Slowly but surely, the galaxy began to take notice. The laughter that had echoed through the stars was replaced by respect, and maybe even fear. Humanity's fight was far from over, but for the first time, there was real hope. Legends were no longer just stories. They were being written by ordinary people doing extraordinary things. With the Zorvath fleet crippled near the moon, Humanity seized its chance to strike back. The vanguard fleet regrouped and prepared for one final, daring assault on the Zorveth homeworld. It was a risky plan. Earth's forces were still outnumbered and outgunned, but General Rachel Hayes knew it was their only hope of ending the war. If they could destroy the heart of the Zorveth Empire, the aliens would have no choice but to surrender. Captain Lucas Bennett led the mission aboard the Aegis Asterisk, now equipped with Oblivion, the weapon that had turned the tide at the Battle of Luna. The journey through enemy territory was treacherous. The Zorveth threw everything they had at the human fleet, determined to stop them before they reached their capital. Entire squadrons sacrificed themselves to protect the Aegis Asterisk, ensuring it could complete its mission. Each loss weighed heavily on Bennett, but he refused to let doubt cloud his mind. He reminded himself why they were fighting. For Earth, for survival, for every person who had ever believed in humanity's potential. As the fleet approached the Zorveth homeworld, the scale of the enemy's defenses became clear. Massive orbital platforms bristled with weapons, and countless ships patrolled the skies. It seemed impossible to break through. But Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell's sacrifice during the Battle of Luna had given humanity more than just an opening. It had inspired courage. Pilots flew with unmatched determination, weaving between enemy fire and taking down targets with precision. Engineers worked tirelessly to keep damaged ships in the fight, patching hulls, and rerouting power even as explosions rocked their vessels. Back on Earth, Emily Parker monitored the battle from NASA's command center. Her voice crackled over the comms, guiding the fleet through the chaos. She relayed critical information about enemy movements, helping the humans exploit weaknesses in the Zorveth defenses. Though she wasn't physically present, her contributions were vital. Every piece of data she provided brought the fleet closer to victory. The final push came when the Aegis Asterisk broke through the last line of defense and entered orbit around the Zorveth homeworld. Captain Bennett gave the order to activate Oblivion. The weapon hummed with energy as it charged, its power radiating through the ship. The crew held their breath, knowing this moment would decide the fate of humanity. When Oblivion fired, a wave of energy surged outward, tearing apart the orbital platforms and obliterating the remaining Zorveth ships. The once mighty alien fleet was reduced to drifting debris. On the surface of the Zorveth homeworld, panic spread as the invaders realized their empire was crumbling. Their leaders, who had mocked humanity and dismissed Earth as insignificant, now begged for mercy. The Zorveth surrendered unconditionally, humbled by the ferocity and ingenuity of their former prey. The war was over, but the cost had been immense. Thousands of lives were lost, and entire cities lay in ruins. Yet amid the grief, there was pride. Humanity had faced an enemy far stronger than themselves and emerged victorious. Stories of bravery and sacrifice spread across the globe, reminding people of what they had achieved together. In the aftermath, General Hayes addressed the world. "We stood on the brink of destruction, but we did not falter," she said. "We fought not just for ourselves, but for future generations. Today we have earned our place among the stars." Her words resonated deeply, inspiring hope and unity. The galaxy, once filled with laughter at human legends, now looked at Earth with respect. Humanity's story was no longer a joke. It was proof that even the smallest voices could echo throughout eternity when fueled by courage and determination. And though the scars of war would remain, so too would the belief that humanity could overcome any challenge. In the months that followed the war, humanity began to rebuild. The scars of battle were everywhere: ruined cities, empty homes, and families mourning loved ones. But there was also a sense of hope. Earth had proven itself capable of standing against even the most powerful enemies. For the first time, the galaxy saw humans not as weak or insignificant, but as a force to be respected. The Zorveth Empire, once arrogant and dismissive, now sought peace. Their leaders sent envoys to Earth, humbled by their defeat. General Rachel Hayes represented humanity in negotiations, ensuring that Earth's interests were protected. She made it clear that humanity would never again tolerate aggression or disrespect. The Zorvath agreed to withdraw from human-controlled space and dismantle their weapons near Earth's solar system. In return, Earth promised to share knowledge and resources peacefully, a sign that humanity valued cooperation over revenge. As part of these new alliances, Earth was invited to join the Galactic Council, a governing body overseeing relations between civilizations. It was a historic moment. Humanity, once laughed at and ignored, now had a voice among the stars. General Hayes became Earth's ambassador, speaking on behalf of her people with wisdom and strength. She reminded everyone that while humanity had fought hard for its place, it also sought friendship and understanding. Captain Lucas Bennett retired from active duty after the war. Though he was hailed as a hero, he preferred a quieter life. He spent his days mentoring young pilots, teaching them the skills they would need to protect Earth in the future. His stories of bravery inspired a new generation, showing them that courage wasn't about being fearless. It was about doing what needed to be done, even when you were afraid. Emily Parker continued her work at NASA, studying the ancient artifact that had helped turn the tide of the war. She hoped to unlock more of its secrets, believing it could lead to discoveries that would benefit all of humanity. Her efforts earned her recognition not just on Earth but across the galaxy. Scientists from other civilizations reached out to collaborate with her, eager to learn from humanity's ingenuity. Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell's sacrifice was remembered by millions. Her name became synonymous with bravery, and her story was told in schools and memorials around the world. Her daughter, only 6 years old when Sarah died, grew up knowing how much her mother had loved her, and how much she had given to protect their home. Across the galaxy, tales of Earth's improbable rise spread far and wide. What had once been jokes about primitive humans were now stories of resilience and determination. People spoke of Captain Bennett's daring leadership, Lieutenant Mitchell's selfless bravery, and Emily Parker's brilliant mind. These legends weren't just about individuals, they were about humanity as a whole. They showed that even in the face of overwhelming odds, ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things. Earth itself began to change. The unity forged during the war remained strong, with nations continuing to work together for the common good. New technologies developed during the conflict improved lives. From advanced medical treatments to cleaner energy sources, humanity looked to the stars with a renewed sense of purpose, ready to explore and connect with other civilizations. The galaxy had underestimated Earth before, but no one made that mistake again. Humans were no longer seen as weak or unimportant. They were survivors, dreamers, and fighters. Their legends, once mocked, were now celebrated as proof that courage and unity could overcome any challenge. And so, humanity took its place among the stars, carrying with it the lessons of the past and the hope of the future. The galaxy might have laughed at human legends once, but now those legends echoed through eternity, reminding everyone that even the smallest voices could change the course of history.